Just wanted to show you some of the new features that Google put into Google Forms this year that might be useful for teachers in the classroom. So we're going to real quickly pop over to Google Forms and take you through two new features. All right, so one of the new features in Google this year is the ability to add images for both the answers and for the question. You can also additionally have text go with it. So if you don't want it to be just an image, because you don't know who these guys and gals are, you can put the actual text above the image too. There, so now you can actually see who the people are. So all I did was I typed the question, and then when I go to add an answer, the option appears over here to add an image. So I can click on that image, and then I can go to my Google Drive and use an image I've stored. I can take a snapshot of myself using the camera. I can find a URL on the web. I can upload something from my F drive or a local resource. Or I can search a limited selection of Google images. So we'll just choose another author, J.K. Rowling. This one will be close because you could actually maybe even consider her science fiction. So we'll pick this image, throw it in here, and you see the image comes in, and then you can add the text over it if you wish to have text also included. So that's real quickly how to add an image as an answer. You can also add an image as part of a question. Now, some of you are saying, I could do this before by clicking on the image here. And the answer is no. When you added an image here, you would then have to add a question below it. The image and the question weren't necessarily associated together. And why is this important? Well, before, when you had it shuffle questions, the image could get separated from the question by quite a bit of distance. Now, if you click here and add an image as part of the question, it will always stay with it even when you choose the shuffle questions options. Okay, so that's how to add images as part of the question or as part of the answers. That's one of the two new features in Google this release. The other is that you can now make your forms into quizzes. You simply click the gear to go into settings, switch to the quizzes tab, and then make your selections. So you're going to say, I'm going to make this a quiz. As soon as the students submit, they'll get an answer. They'll get their answers back. And here's what they'll get when they get that submission back. They'll see which questions they missed. You can have it show them the correct answers or just leave it out, and the value of the points that they got for the quiz. So we're going to say save because now we have to go through and set correct answers. So I only have the one question in this case. How do I choose the correct answer for it? I simply scroll down and you'll now see that there's an answer key link here. When I click on the answer key link, I can assign the number of points this question is going to be worth and choose the answer I want to be correct. Note that you can actually choose 2 or more correct answers for a question that would allow them to get the credit. I don't know. I haven't experimented with, do they have to get both of them, or is either enough to get them the 1 point? Something you can check out and let me know. So in this case, I'm going to choose Arthur C. Clarke because he is the greatest science fiction writer of all time, not these other people. So now I've actually done the question. I can move on and do another question if I want, or I can end there. However, there is an additional piece of information that you might want to know about this quiz feature in Google. And that is that you can also, in addition to setting up the answers and this, give the students feedback. So it's not in this section here. I just wanted to take you back in again and make sure you turn it on, whether you want to do it immediately or send the answers to them after you review it. Okay. We're going to click save. And oh, by the way, if you choose to later review it, you have to make sure back here that you've collected email addresses in order for them to get an answer sent to them later on. Okay, because if you do immediately, it just shows it on the screen. If you do later after review, it sends them an email. Okay, so I'm going to save that. All right, so now down here, add answer feedback. You can add both incorrect and correct answers. And so the incorrect feedback is no, this author doesn't write in the genre science fiction. Obviously, I made a spelling error there, so I'm going to right-click and save it. Now I can also correct answers. And how can someone who wrote Rendezvous with Rama not be the greatest sci-fi writer of all time. Now, what you may not get with this feedback, you say, it's cute, I'm going to leave them a little text, but you can also put hyperlinks in here. So one of the things you can do that's really nice is if you're giving them a quiz and you can put a hyperlink in for the incorrect answer to a video where you've given them the explanation for how to do that particular thing that they made as a common error. So it allows you can even give video feedback, and that's using this link tool right here, where you would add a link in the incorrect answer and it can go out to a YouTube video or any web page for that matter. Okay, so that's how you give feedback on a quiz. So the two new features that we covered in this new features to Google Forms are how to add images as part of our quiz, and then how to make our form into an actual quiz with feedback and points for answering the questions. All right, so that's what's new in Google Forms.